The 23-24 Premier League season has came to an end, and with the end came a few surprises. All three promoted teams were relegated back to the Championship for only the second time in the Premier League's history. Unai Emery's Aston Villa managed to qualify for the Champions League next year, and despite being a banter club for the entire season, Chelsea somehow still managed to finish above Manchester United. But one thing that wasn't a surprise to anyone was Manchester City winning their 4th consecutive league title and their 6th in the last 7 years, which means that only Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool at the peak of its powers were able to dethrone Manchester City, and only for a singular year. However, this was very nearly not the case, as Manchester City only managed to see Arsenal out for the 2nd season in a row to the league title by just 2 points. Both clubs even finished on equal goal difference. Now, one team in particular who could have changed all of that and helped Arsenal actually win the league was Tottenham Hotspur. Now, of course, the problem with this is Arsenal and Spurs obviously make up the North London derby. This is the Premier League table with just 2 games to go, and Manchester City only sat 2 points in front of Arsenal. Arsenal's remaining 2 games were away at a very poor Manchester United team and at home to Everton. Arsenal were expected to win both, which means Manchester City would have to lose one of their remaining games in order for Arsenal to jump them and claim their first Premier League title in over 20 years. And this is where Spurs come into the mix, because Manchester City's remaining 2 games were away at Tottenham Hotspur and at home to West Ham United. West Ham they would be comfortably expected to beat, which means Tottenham was the only real chance Manchester City had of dropping points and letting Arsenal jump them to the league title.
Hi Ange. Fancy beating City so we can win the league? Mate.
So, with everything previously mentioned, what did this all mean for Tottenham? Well, Tottenham sat 5th, and so long as they got a point from their remaining 2 games, Manchester City at home and Sheffield United away, then Chelsea, Newcastle United and Manchester United wouldn't be able to catch them, and they would be guaranteed 5th place. However, the only way Tottenham would be able to catch Aston Villa in 4th place was if Aston Villa lost both of their remaining games away at both Liverpool and Crystal Palace. This means that there was about a 90% chance that Spurs would finish 5th regardless of what happened. Even if they won their last 2 games, so long as Aston Villa picked up 1 point, they would finish 4th. And so long as they could pick up just a point from Sheffield away, one of the worst Premier League teams we've seen, then they would be finishing 5th. Before the Manchester City game, Spurs fans knew that chances were they were going to finish 5th. This meant with how much risk there was, based on how little reward they would get, a large proportion of Spurs fans actually wanted them to lose this game to deprive Arsenal the league title.
No. Wait.
So, what did Ange think before the game? Well, in his pre-match press conference, a journalist asked him, "A proportion of your fans won't want you to win this game. How do you feel about that?" And despite having a mini bitch fit at the start, Ange said, "How many? What percent? 50%? 20%? 1%? Don't ask questions you don't know the answer to." He did eventually answer the question, and to be fair to him, he answered it very well. Ange said the following: "Yeah, that's fine. People are allowed to feel how they do. But I think I've been really consistent, really strong in my beliefs, that it's important for this football club, in order to get to where it wants to be, not to fall for any short-term reactions. We need to focus on real success, and real success is trophies. Anything else in between, bragging rights or whatever else, is absolutely meaningless." Now, at this point, everything seemed to be going well. Because see, here's the thing. Even if Ange and the players also didn't want to win this game, they can't come out in the media and say that. Why? Because that's literally match fixing. Ange had his crack at the media, however still kept up the idea that Spurs wanted to win this game just as they want to win every game. These were the lineups going into the game, and Tottenham had put out probably the best team they could have given the players available to them. So, how did the game go? Well, at half time, despite Foden and De Bruyne having very good chances, the score was still 0-0. Arsenal fans are starting to believe. 51st minute of play, heartbreak for Arsenal. Erling Haaland makes it 1-0 to Man City. Then, on the 69th minute, even more hope for Arsenal. Manchester City goalie Ederson is forced off with a concussion after colliding with Christian Romero. And that's when it happened. In the 85th minute of play, Heung-min Son threw on goal with a 1v1 opportunity to level it. So, City won the game 2-0, and you can guess what happened from here. Both Arsenal and City won their last games of the season, City won the league. However, the fallout from this game would go on to be far more entertaining. Because whilst the Spurs fans for the most part had got what they wanted,
great success,
Ange Postecoglou had a bit of a different reaction. Now, I don't want to show the interview because I don't want to get in trouble, but this is basically what he said. The last 48 hours has revealed to me the foundations are really fragile. Inside, outside, it's everywhere. It's been an interesting exercise. I probably misread what's important in your endeavour to becoming a winning team, but that's okay. I can't dictate what people do, they can express themselves however they want. Okay, so for this next segment, I'm just going to give my thoughts on the whole thing. Now look, Spurs fans were more than entitled to feel how they wanted about their team. And a lot of Spurs fans wanted them to lose this game, and you can see why. Jump onto YouTube and search up any major Spurs channels and check what they were saying before the game. The vast majority of them actively wanted to lose this game. And again, you can see why. Would you really want to win a game that was basically guaranteed to give your arch rivals a league title? Probably not. However, just because the Spurs fans definitely have a point in what they were saying, it doesn't mean that Postecoglou was wrong either. You can't be a winner, instill a winning mentality and try to fix the issues at Spurs, but only have that mentality half the time. It needs to be there all the time, or it's not really there. I do personally believe he was wrong to call out the fans, not necessarily that he was wrong with anything he said. However, I don't think it will do him any favours in the long run. And it will be quite interesting to see how the relationship between Postecoglou and the fans develops for the future. Because again, you know, check any major Spurs channels, a lot of them were not happy with the comments he made after the game. They feel it was, you know, quite an obvious thing that they would want to lose that game. However, Postecoglou's comments makes that now 3 out of the last 4 managers Spurs have had to come out in the media and say quite negative things about the club. Mourinho recently saying that Spurs was the only team he's ever managed, which, you know, he doesn't have a positive affiliation towards. Obviously, Postecoglou's made these comments after the City game, and no one will ever top that Antonio Conte meltdown. That was peak Premier League. And to be honest, I highly doubt that Nuno Espirito Santo has any positive feelings for Tottenham either. The win at all costs mentality that Ange is trying to implement is exactly what you can see Spurs want. It's exactly what they went for with Mourinho and Conte, serial winners. And being in the Europa League might actually help Ange install that, seeing as it's going to be a much easier competition to win than the Champions League, especially with the difficulties he'll have at the club with the ownership structure. I mean, going into the Champions League with a front three of, you know, for as good as Son is, you've got Brendan Johnson and Dejan Kulusevski at the side of him with Richarlison as a backup. It's not very threatening. The last time Spurs won a trophy was 16 years ago with Harry Redknapp, so the formula for Ange's success is basically to just win anything. However, it will be interesting to see how things develop. I mean, that post-City interview can't have helped his relationship with the fans at all. He was obviously very flavour of the month when he came in, a breath of fresh air to all the Spurs fans. Bold decisions he was making, like refusing to change his system, and the disaster for just a game, for example, with the 4-1 with Chelsea. 2 men sent off and he decided to play his entire back line on the halfway line, ended up losing 4-1 from a 1 each possession. Really bold moves like that in time could start to be seen as just reckless and bring on criticism. I mean, a refusal to change tactics, change his system was literally the same thing that all Spurs fans seem to really dislike Antonio Conte for. And if he's not careful, he could start to be criticised for that. And, you know, given that interview and the way the end of the season came, Spurs fans are definitely going to be a bit hesitant to jump on the everything must be positive with Postecoglou bandwagon. But these are just my thoughts on the whole situation. I would be really interested to hear what everyone's got to say in the comments below. There's been a lot of opinions online as to, you know, who's right in this situation. I personally don't think anyone's wrong. But I just want to say a thanks to everyone who's made it this far into the video. Please feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you want. And I'll see everyone in the next video.